everybody, and welcome into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network, presented by Just SLABBED. Alongside Dan Stickrat, I'm Patty Cesarini, and we have your Week 4 rankings for you. We are also going to be joined by two special guests throughout the show on this Sunday night, so stay with us for a lot of fun. And Dan, we've got 44 changes this week. Give us a little preview.
44 changes. Sometimes at this point of the season, you're going to expect a lot of movement. We have seen that as a lot of these conference races heat up, a lot of one-goal games decided, a lot of ties throughout the state of Michigan. And once again, these rankings are provided to us by the Michigan High School Soccer Coach Association, which has been around for many decades. There is a division chair at each of the 4 divisions that rounds up results throughout the previous 7 days and tries to come up with a formula to rank the top 15 plus honorable mentions in each of the 4 divisions.
And on your screen, you're going to see the total changes for this week and also the total changes throughout the past 4 weeks. But when we come back, we will have your Division 4 rankings, and we'll be joined by our special guest, Patrick Reyes. He is from Auburn Hills Oakland Christian. Dan, when you look at the total changes here throughout 4 weeks, is this, at this point of the season, shocking to you?
Not necessarily shocking, and it seems like you see a lot more movement in the girls' season than you do in the boys' season. And a lot of that has to do with parity, especially in the higher divisions where there are so many good teams in some of these conferences that it's hard to pick a winner. Before the season, it's hard to pick a winner now at the end of April. There's still a month of regular season left to go, so it's going to be a wild finish before those districts starts out in a lot of conferences across the state.
All right, well, thank you, Dan. We are going to send it to break, but when we come back, we will have your Division 4 Week 4 rankings for you.
Today I'm going to tell you about sportsmanship because it's important. Treat your opponents the way you would want to be treated. My mom says that. Listen to the referees. It's their job. Be nice to their team and our team. Cheer them on. Always play fair. It's the right thing to do. It's sportsmanship. It's not that hard.
We are the MHSAA, a collection of 750 high schools and 750 middle schools, from Temperance to Copper Harbor, from New Buffalo to Alpena. Each year, more than 250,000 students play one of our 28 sports. More than 1.5 million fans attend our postseason games. There are 30,000 coaches and 8,000 officials, not to mention all of the volunteers. The MHSAA believes in the 4 S's. School sports should be safe and kept in the appropriate scope. We believe nothing beats great sportsmanship, and that scholarship in the classroom is more important than excellence on the field or court. Most of all, we believe school sports should be fun. So come out and join us at a game. Support your school, support your community, and come see what the excitement is all about.
Welcome back into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show. Now we have your Division 4 Week 4 rankings alongside Dan Stickra and our first special guest, Coach Patrick Reyes from Auburn Hills Oakland Christian. Coach, thanks for being here with us today. We're happy to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And we're going to just jump right into these rankings, and then we're going to get your take on these rankings as well from a coach's perspective, alongside Dan's analysis as well. So go ahead, take a look at what is up on your screen right now. So coming in at 15, Kalamazoo Hackett Catholic Prep, Granville Calvin Christian, then Saginaw Novell Catholic Central, Adrian Lenaway Christian. At 10, Auburn Hills Oakland Christian, Plymouth Christian, Harbor Springs, Madison Heights Bishop Foley. At 7, you have Grosse Pointe Woods University Liggett, then Leland, North Muskegon, Kalamazoo Christian, Clarkston Everest Collegiate, Muskegon Western Michigan Christian, Royal Oak Shrine. At number 1, and the teams that are out this week are Byron Center, Zion Christian, Lansing Christian, Jackson Lumen Christi, and the teams that are in for this week are Adrian Lenawee Christian, Granville Calvin Christian, and Kalamazoo Hackett Catholic Prep. No honorable mentions, but Dan, for this Division 4, 11 total changes.
11 total changes. One team that does not change is Royal Oak Shrine. Again, they're going after their third state championship this year in the last 7 years. The Knights have been playing very solid soccer. We talked about this last week. They're out of that AA division of the Catholic High School League. When you look at Division 4 and Division 3, and even Division 2, because it's a strange conference where you have teams spread out between 3 different divisions, still one of the deepest leagues in the state. Leland finally starting to get some games in. Up north, we talked about it 3 weeks ago, that ice storm in Gaylord on north into the Upper Peninsula. Teams in that area, they just couldn't play in March and early April. So any team really above M10 across the state of Michigan from Bay City through Midland and on westward to Ludington, the number of games for those schools up north has been far fewer than a lot of teams here down to the southern half of the state. So we'll look for some of those teams that pick up the amount of games, probably a lot of 3-game weeks for teams up north. Plymouth Christian played Kalamazoo Christian. We'll point that one out. Kalamazoo Christian beat Plymouth 3-0 Saturday at the Lansing Christian Invitational. There's 4 quality teams in that tournament. So that was one of the biggest games in Division 4 this week. Granville Calvin Christian is actually 1 game under 500, but remember, Calvin Christian has a long history, and they play in another league that has a lot of much bigger schools than Calvin Christian. So you look at that Ottawa-Kent Conference, there's 6 divisions. All 6 of those divisions have good teams spread out between D1, D2, D3, and D4. So sometimes you'll see a team like that, maybe not have the record, but come tournament time, they have enough talent to make a run in their division. And as we know, Jackson Lumen Christi last year was 7th in their conference, 7th in that AA division of the Catholic League we just spoke about. Yet they put it all together at the right time, and they had finished up as the state championships a year ago. So will there be another team like that? Will one of the powerhouse teams in that top 5 make a run? We'll see how it all unfolds here in the next couple months.
And Coach, this is your first time, taking a peek at this list. Yeah. You literally just now, as it popped up on the screen, you heard Dan's spiel about it. What are your initial thoughts?
I mean, I'm glad we're playing 5 of the top 10 teams probably in the rest of the season, so we can kind of see where things shake out. But we're week 4. I mean, I fully expect a lot of this is going to change especially over the next couple of weeks, because we're getting right into the meat of our conference season right now. So we'll see. On Thursday we play Bishop Foley, so that'll be a good test for us. And then a week from tomorrow we play Liggett. So there's 2 teams already that are in the top 10 that we'll go up against, and we'll see how we do.
And you've been at Auburn Hills, Oakland Christian for 8 years now.
Yep.
And from your perspective and your experience, what do you think just about the competition within Division 4?
I mean, there's quality teams in Division 4. I mean, Royal Oak Shrine, one of those. We played them earlier on this season, and they beat us 6-0. And it was, they're a quality team, and they've got some really good players. So, there are teams in there that can compete. I mean, we played Country Day this year, who's a Division 3. We had Lutheran North was our first game. They're Division 3. And then at the end of the season, we play Wixom, St. Mary's, or St. Catherine's. So another Division 3 school. So, there are Division 4 schools that can compete with some of the higher division teams. And, we do that, I do that, just to prepare the teams for the state tournament. So.
Yeah, and what do you like about your team specifically this year?
For me, just the community of the girls. They really love being around each other and playing with each other. I definitely have, just different levels of talent, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I think all the girls that I have, they love being together on the field, being together off the field, hanging out, and doing all sorts of fun things together. So that makes it fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dan, what are your final thoughts, wrap-ups for Division 4, Week 4 rankings?
Well, we have Oakland Christian here on the set with us tonight. Last year, you guys made a run to the Final Four. The first time the girls program has advanced that far. The boys team has been to the Final Four numerous times, dating back to the early 1990s. What does it take for a small school to make a run? Because Division I schools, Division II schools, they'll walk out with 24 varsity players that all play for high-level clubs. They're a lot more experienced. Division IV and even some Division III teams, it's a little bit different, where you don't always have a total roster of club players. Right. You may not have a junior varsity Division IV schools almost never have a JVB or freshman team, so it's a completely different animal. How do you look at your team and kind of look at the others and see, like, well, they may not have 25 club players, but they have enough talent to make a run?
I mean, I've been fortunate. The last couple of years, I've had 3 or 4 just really quality club players that have just helped carry a lot of it. But then at the same time, I've had other girls that are just really athletic and just want to come out and just work really, really hard. And then I've been able to just, with the help of my staff, just coach them up, and they've been able to contribute and contribute well. So you get that, and then anything can happen, especially in the state tournament.
Oh, for sure. So it's not about how you start. It's always about
how
you finish. So super cliche. Yep. You've heard them all as a coach too. But Coach, we appreciate you coming on the show with us tonight.
Me.
Yes, thank you, and thanks for your insight. It's definitely fun to get a coach's perspective on things, especially when you've been there for quite some time. All right, well, when we come back, we are going to move into our Division III Week 4 rankings, so don't go anywhere. You are watching the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show.
In our online world, we have access to endless communication channels. But despite our online connections, one dynamic will always separate the value in a phone call from an email, and that's relationship. Growing businesses and customer relationships live and die by the phone system, and an enterprise phone solution is the key to bridging the communication gap between you and your customers. At Spectrum VoIP, we exist to make sure your communication is seamless, consistent, and reliable. With simple pricing and reliable support, we dramatically reduce your telecommunication expenses. We come to you to install, train, and onboard your team, and our 24/7 support team is always available to help. Our interactive web portal has endless features that include the real-time data you need, the ability to record, download, and re-listen to phone calls, and sending SMS text messages straight from your computer. And the best part is that all of this is available in the palm of your hand. Since reliability is one of your top priorities, we make it one of ours. So what makes us different? We don't just connect your phones. We power your connection with your customers, your team, and your next level as a business.
Welcome back into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network, presented by Just Slab. Just me and my partner Dan Stickrat here, giving you the Division III Week 4 rankings. So we'll get right into it as usual. Go ahead, take a look at what is up on your screen, and we're going to break these down for you. So starting at number 15, Freeland, then Flint Powers Catholic, Williamston, Grand Rapids, West Michigan Aviation Academy, Fremont, Traverse City St. Francis, Pontiac Notre Dame Prep, Milan, Brooklyn Columbia Central, Warren Regina, Frankenmuth, Essexville Garber, Grand Rapids Catholic Central, then Grosse Ile, and then Detroit Country Day. And the team that is out for Week 4 is Almont, and then the team that is in is Flint Powers Catholic. And for your honorable mentions, we have Almont, Wixom St. Catherine, Ann Arbor Green Hills, Standish Sterling, and Bad Axe, for a total number of changes for Week 4 in Division 3 at 11. Now, Dan, Milan bumped up 7 spots for Week 4, and then Freeland dropped down 5.
Well, Freeland's had a little bit of difficult time scoring goals. We mentioned last week they went through 4 consecutive 1-0 losses. The Milans the conference they're in, the Huron League, has become much deeper, much more competitive here the last 5 to 7 school years. They're with Grosse Seal at number 2, New Boston Huron, which is Division II, and Carleton Airport. There's a few others in that league. Their soccer programs have just become much more competitive in recent years. More club players are being fed into those programs, coaching staffs. I mean, so you look at the strength of schedule, we can say that in every division, that there's always going to be teams that they're there. Maybe their record doesn't always show it. Sometimes it does, but a lot of it has to do with that strength of schedule. But I want to point a couple things out on the honorable mention list as well. Bad Axe was a Division IV for several years. The reason why they're up in Division III is Harbor Beach was having some numbers issues the last 5 or 6 school years. So Harbor Beach is playing as a unified team with Bad Axe being the host school. And just above them, Stannis Sterling, 8-1 start. That is the best start in their program's history. So that's another program north of Bay City that is definitely on the rise. Ann Arbor Green Hills, very, very good defensive team. Again, another team out of that Catholic High School League AA division. Wixom St. Catherine actually tied #1 Country Day here back in March. So there's some teams in honorable mention that are having very good years, and they could crack into that top 15 at any time. Flint Powers Catholic, that was a rare experience last week, not seeing them in the top 15. They fell back out. But we've talked about this every boys and girls season. They're in that Saginaw Valley League where they play a bunch of Division I and Division II schools all year round. They even go outside the league and play some bigger schools. So it will help them, and it always has helped them in the past, about playing those bigger schools, preparing them for the state tournament. Fremont is in there. There's another program that has really shot up the charts here the last few years. I think they've outscored their opposition something like 36-8. They're in first place in that West Michigan Conference. Ludington and North Muskegon, which is ranked high in Division IV, are just below them. So that could be an interesting race. We'll talk about that here in Division II and Division I. A lot of these conference races, there might be some highly ranked teams at the top, but there's a lot of teams below that could actually come up and beat, a top-rated team. It's going to be very, very interesting how these conference races shake up, because not a lot of schools can get through their conference race unscathed. They either have a few ties or they'll take a loss, still win a conference, but they'll take a loss because the competition in a lot of these conferences is very deep.
And speaking of, I just want to point out Grand Rapids Catholic Central, they fell out of the #1 spot, but Dan, you've got a little bit of some insight as to why.
And then another school they play in that, they got moved up to the white division of the Ottawa-Kent Conference, which is the Grand Rapids Muskegon Howland Corridor. There's a lot of very good teams. That is one of the deepest leagues in the entire state of Michigan, all 4 divisions combined. Essville Garber, #4. They actually took a loss to Division I Midland here this past week, but Garber is another team. They've been consistently a top 15 team here the last decade. So, hey, you play at a school that's 3-4 times larger than you take a loss, it doesn't necessarily hurt you, because at the end of the day, you're not going to see those caliber teams maybe in your district or even your regional as you would playing a school that has 2,000 students. And again, they're much, much bigger. So it's smart for some of these schools. Hey, we'll go out and take 2 or 3 losses this season. We'll play some Division I, Division II schools, because in the end, it's just going to make you better down the road.
No doubt. Well, thank you, Dan. And when we come back, we will have your Division II Week 4 rankings. Don't go anywhere. You are watching the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network.
Looking for a score, a schedule, a story? MHSAA.com has you covered. Our newly redesigned website has everything you need to follow high school sports in Michigan. And it's optimized for mobile use. Fans can submit scores on a Friday night, check playoff pairings and game times, or read about the student athletes from your community. Your first stop is MHSAA.com. Connect with us online and get everything you need all in one place.
At Sarah Buick GMC Rochester Hills, football season is a great time to show off our new lineup.
Like our star players,
our beefed up defense,
our hurry up offense, and our impressive stats.
Check out these highlights.
Right now, you can lease this GMC Sierra Elevation Crew Cab for $239 a month, or take the field in a Buick Envista Preferred for just $159 a month.
With offers this good, you should start practicing your touchdown dance.
Only at Sarah Buick GMC Rochester Hills.
Whether you're a beginner coach or a seasoned professional, one thing remains the same: the passion to teach and inspire the next generation of players. Now imagine a place where you could share your coaching knowledge, connect with others, and create a lasting impact. Welcome to the ultimate coaching community, where coaches from all levels can create and share their own courses. Whether you have years of experience or you're just getting started, this is your chance to make your voice heard. Create your own personalized courses, share drills, strategies, and tips, and watch as your knowledge reaches coaches from all corners of the soccer world. With a platform designed for sharing, learning, and growing, you're not just teaching the game, you're creating a community of like-minded coaches, all striving to be the best they can be. Together, we'll elevate the game and support one another to be better, stronger coaches.
Welcome back into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network, presented by Just Slabbed alongside Dan Stickrat. I'm Patty Cesarini, and now we are going to jump right into our Division II Week 4 rankings. Not a whole lot of moving and shaking around as Division 4 and Division 3, but we're going to break things down for you. So coming in at number 15, we have Goodrich, Grand Rapids, Forest Hills Northern, Middleville, Thornapple Kellogg, Otsego, Farmington Hills Mercy, Mason, DeWitt, East Grand Rapids, Stevenson Lakeshore, New Boston Huron, Grand Rapids South Christian, Richland Gull Lake, Birmingham Marion, Grand Rapids Forest Hills Central, and then at number 1, Hudsonville Unity Christian, the teams that are out, Holly and Dearborn Divine Child, and then the teams that are in, Thornapple Kellogg and Grand Rapids Forest Hills Northern. Now for your honorable mentions, we have Holly, Spring Lake, Dearborn Divine Child, and Orchard Lake St. Mary's, for a total number of changes for Week 4 at 8. Now, Dan, it's so impressive to me is that Hudsonville Unity Christian, they are at number 1. And you would expect, again, some troubles or some trials, tribulations from jumping Division 3 to Division 2, but they are just straight up killing it.
They have 2 ties on the season, but they have outplayed all their opponents, 47-2 scoring edge. They have 2 of the best players in the entire state of Michigan. They are ranked 16th in the country for girls soccer played in the spring sports. So that means 17 different states feed into the national rankings for the spring. That's literally thousands and thousands of schools across the country, but they have such a reputation. I had a long talk with Randy Heatheis here earlier this week. He started that program back in 1990. He said, we have some great talent. He thinks this is one of his deeper teams yet. So they were down in Division 3 the last 25 plus years, up in Division 2 now, and they are every bit as good as any team on that list. Grand Rapids South Christian at number 5 is another team that bumped up to Division 2 from Division 3. They have a 47-4 scoring as the Sailors. There's a lot of talent on that team. Not much changes with them. They just are one of those programs that reloads year in and year out. We mentioned New Boston Huron playing Milan and Grosse Seal in Division 3. That's another quality race. It's going to be see how that all pans out here over the next month. Richland Gull Lake and Stevensville Lakeshore, they're out of that Southwestern Michigan Athletic Conference. There's 6 good teams in that league right now. They're all Division 2 or Division 1 schools, so that is a league that is far from decided. Mason and DeWitt out of the Lansing area, they were both year in and year out, they're in a running for one of the CAAC conference championships. Expect those 2 teams to hang in there all season. Both of them have put up some big numbers offensively, have been hard to score upon defensively. Otsego, this may be their best start in program history. They're in first place in that Wolverine Conference, and then just above them, Farmington Hills Mercy. Jordan Laverser, she was an all-state, I don't mention goalkeeper's a freshman, did not play high school the last 2 years. She's back with Mercy. Mercy won the Catholic High School League tournament last year as Birmingham Marion was upset by Cranbrook. So you have 2 teams out of that Central Division of the Catholic High School League here in the top 15. Both of those schools have a lot of talent, could definitely make some runs. Middleville, Thornapple, Kellogg, they're out of the Gold Division of the Ottawa Kent Conference, as we talked about. Again, there's a lot of very good teams out of all 6 divisions of the OKC. Thornapple, Kellogg, they graduated 1 Division I player last year, but brought back over 90% of the roster from last season. So that's another program that's putting up some big numbers. A year ago, they were stuck in a really tough district. There was 5 teams in that district that were ranked or honorable mention. Otsego was in that same district as well. So sometimes you could do well, you can win your conference, finish second, but you're at the mercy where the state puts you sometimes about districts. There's nothing you can do about it. There's a lot of districts across the state. There'll be a lot of very good teams that just will not be able to escape the district just by numbers. And then one last point, in the Flip Metro League showdown this past week, Goodrich, number 15, knocked off Holly 3-0. That was Holly's first loss. So Holly fell out of the rankings, but still the best program they've had in their school history. And Goodrich won only their 2nd district last year. They're a program on the rise. So that was a league that was long since dominated kind of by Linden and Fenton in the last decade. Now you've seen Goodrich and Holly kind of take over that league.
And another thing that I want to point out, sitting at number 11 this week is Farmington Hills Mercy. They have a 3-2-3 record, but teams below them have 7, 5, 6 wins, on the season. Why is that? I
think it's, again, the strength of schedule. They're in that Catholic High School League, the Central Division. A lot of schools will play really tough non-league competition. So it's just one of those things where you can take those ties, you can take those losses. It's going to benefit you later in the season.
Always the strength of schedule. We talk about it a lot here. But thank you, Dan. So now when we come back, we are going to jump into our Division I Week 4 rankings. We will also be joined again by our second special guest for this Sunday night. So don't go anywhere. You are watching the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network.
We are the MHSAA, a collection of 750 high schools and 750 middle schools, from Temperance to Copper Harbor, from New Buffalo to Alpena. Each year, more than 250,000 students play one of our 28 sports. More than 1.5 million fans attend our postseason games. There are 30,000 coaches and 8,000 officials, not to mention all of the volunteers. The MHSAA believes in the 4 S's. School sports should be safe and kept in the appropriate scope. We believe nothing beats great sportsmanship, and that scholarship in the classroom is more important than excellence on the field or court. Most of all, we believe school sports should be fun. So come out and join us at a game. Support your school, support your community, and come see what the excitement is all about.
Today I'm going to tell you about sportsmanship because it's important. Treat your opponents the way you would want to be treated. My mom says that. Listen to the referees. It's their job. Be nice to their team and our team. Cheer them on. Always play fair. It's the right thing to do. It's sportsmanship. It's not that hard.
Welcome back into the Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show on the National Soccer Network, presented by Just SLABBED, alongside Dan Stickrat and our special guest, Lexi Meyer. Lexi, thanks so much for being here today with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. It's always fun to have, obviously, coaches and players on the show with us. Again, you bring a unique and different aspect to breaking things down for us. Obviously, Dan is a know-it-all when it comes to all love, though, Dan. He knows his stuff, right? I mean, you were here, you were listening. But again, coming from somebody who has now played for a couple of years at Romeo, you've also played for Liverpool. It's always fun to get a different side of things. So I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So you're going to go ahead and read off our Week 4 rankings for Division 1. Why don't you go ahead?
So in 15th, we have Romeo, and then Northville, Ann Arbor, Skyline, Byron Center, Midland, Troy Athens, Heartland, Rochester Adams, Troy, Portage Central, Utica Eisenhower, Rochester, Rockford, Bloomfield Hills, and Saline.
And then the team that is out for this week is Brighton. The team that is in is Romeo. And your honorable mentions are Muskegon Mona Shores, Midland Dow, Lake Orion, Brighton, and Grand Blanc for a total number of changes at 14 for Division 1 this week, Dan.
Well, we'll start with Midland up in the top 15. One of the rare, at this point of the season, they have not had a loss or a tie. Midland Dow's won the last 3 conference championships in the Saginaw Valley League. Before that, Grand Blanc had a long run, so the Chemics are trying to break in, win that conference tournament. They were down in Division 2 for just 1 season last year, still got to the regional finals. Now they're back up in Division 1. Enrollment-wise, they are playing very good soccer. They brought back over 85% of their roster, so look for Midland to be one of those northern half of the Lower Peninsula teams that could make a deep run here in the state tournament. Romeo defeated Utica Eisenhower this past week in the Macomb Area Conference Red Division. That was Eisenhower's first loss, as we take a look, a little highlight clip from that game as well. And Lexi, Romeo's a program that's been on the rise. I had a long conversation with their coach, Trevor Foster, the other day. He talked about, it was about 10 years ago, Romeo's girls program started to get more and more club players at much better, competitive levels. They made their way from the MAC Blue to the MAC White. Now they've been up in the MAC Red here for a couple of seasons. They won their first ever district championship back in 2021. They upset third-ranked Rochester Stony Creek to win that very first district, which leads to the next thing. You play in that district where there's so many good teams. That district has produced the last 2 state champions. Rochester Adams last year, Rochester Stony Creek 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Rochester won that district, got to the Final Four. So as a player playing in a league with Eisenhower, then you have to go through the gauntlet to win a district. What is that like for a player from your standpoint? Do you welcome that challenges? You might have to win 3 overtime games to win a district?
Yeah, it's really nice. It's nice to have good competition, and the fight is great, and practices are really tough when you're playing really hard teams, but it's all worth it when you get the win, and it's all good.
How does the team feel, moving into those games where you're like, oh, we're going up against a really, really tough opponent, and then it doesn't just stop there. It only gets more difficult. How does the team feel? Where's the mindset going into those games?
As our team, we all embrace the challenge and just work as hard as we can to just get the win.
Do you guys have a team mantra this year?
No.
No. I mean, sometimes some teams are like that. Some teams aren't. Some are just like, we don't need to talk about the mantras. We're just going to go out, we're going to play, and we're going to win. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I want to highlight you as a player. Just share your story. How did you initially start playing soccer?
I was put in soccer at a very, very young age, and just my parents were hoping I'd become like an athlete. And when they saw that I was just a very competitive kid, and I was always fighting on the field, I just moved on to play club, and then from there it just progressed. And where I am. Yeah,
but soccer wasn't just the only sport for you either. You were a basketball player, football. You were on the football team. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So what was it like balancing each of those sports while still playing club soccer?
It's a lot, but just time and effort with each of them, and just lots of effort and hard work in all of it, and just pushing through.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? Yeah. And you said your parents were just hoping that you were going to be athletic. That's awesome. I'm assuming your parents were athletes then, too?
Yeah.
Growing you, were they also soccer?
No, they were not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how was that, because, for me, I was a volleyball player, but my whole family was basketball. So it was kind of nice because on those car rides home, Mom and Dad didn't dive too much into the talks about volleyball because they just didn't know.
Right.
How was that experience for you? Similar, kind of,
Yeah, it's exactly the same. My dad tells me all the time. He's like, I know what it's like, and just. Yeah.
Right. There's the level of empathy of they know what it's like to be an athlete, to go through the grind and stuff, but it is nice when you have those more calm rides home instead of mom and dad kind of, laying into you about it. But Dan, we're at week 4 now, so looking ahead at Division I, what changes are you expecting to see?
Well, we saw a big game yesterday. Portage Central knocked off defending OAA Red Division champion Troy 5-2. So Portage Central, again, they're in the SMAC. That's a tough league. Troy is one of 5 ranked teams out of the OAA Red Division. Certain conferences, they just never go away. The OAA Red, we talked about this the last couple weeks. They've produced the last 3 state champions in Division I. Bloomfield Hills won it all in 2022. And Rochester got to the semifinals that year. Both those teams, they tied 2-2 this week. Both still undefeated overall. Bloomfield Hills has played one more game than the other 6 teams in that league, but they are in the driver's seat in the OAA Red. But that conference is still far from decided. The way the final pecking order will end up, there's a lot of big games the next 3 weeks with the teams in that league. Heartland knocked off Brighton. Brighton fell out of the top 15 down to honorable mention. They play in that West Division of the KLAA. That was another huge match this past week. Troy Athens, another OAA Red team, only 1 loss this season. That was to Bloomfield Hills. On the west side of the state, Rockford and then Byron Center, both those teams are very, very loaded. They're very deep. One of those 2 teams could make a deep run to the Final Four this year as well. You never can tell. I mean, there's always an upset. It happens each and every year when you look at a team, they were top 15 or honorable mention the whole season, but they have one bad game in that pre-district or district semifinal and their season end prematurely. It will happen to somebody on these lists here tonight that will see their season end unexpectedly. But right now, the conference races, there's close to 70 different leagues that will be decided here by the end of May. Everything's still up for grabs. Yes, there are some teams that are in the driver's seat or in pretty good, comfortable position, but there's a lot of games yet to be played in all these leagues. It will be a lot of fun to see how this all emerges in the next few weeks.
And when we talk about upsets, Lexi, again, as a player, how do you feel? Would you rather be an underdog or would you rather be the top dog that everyone's coming after?
Definitely the underdog. It feels really good when you get the win as an underdog, and it's a lot more pressure when you're the top team trying to hold that position. So it's nice being an underdog every once in a while and just pushing through.
Yeah.
What do you say when you look at these teams? You play a lot of these girls in both high school and club. You play for Liverpool. Goalkeeping. Sometimes if you have a really good team, but your goalkeeper just elevates a game to another level come the state tournament, how big is that for a respective team that you play for or play against? Yeah,
it's huge. Goalies are probably one of the most important players on the field, and we respect them very much.
Yeah, it's the last line of defense, right? Yeah. That's it. I mean, they are probably arguably the most important player on the team because they control. They are in the driver's seat. Yeah. If you win or lose. Granted, there's multiple other players that the ball has to go through before it gets to the goal. But Lexi, what are your hopes, your team's goals for the end of the season here?
Obviously, we hope to get as high as possible on the rankings, and we're working really hard to get there. We had a little bit of a tough start to the season, but I think right now we're doing really well and just coming back.
How has your team been able to push through maybe that more difficult start? What kind of conversations were you guys having to push through that?
Just a lot of we all need to be together, and it's a together sport, obviously, and just working together is huge for us, and the team chemistry and team environment is another really big thing for our team.
For sure. Well, Lexi, I appreciate you coming on the show with us.
Yeah.
Dan, any final thoughts here?
Well, again, we need to thank the Michigan High School Soccer Coach Association for providing these lists for us, week in and week out throughout the fall and spring months. One last point, Saline 11-0-0 atop the standings, untied, unbeaten. They've scored over 70 goals this season, only given up 4. So I wrote a story a few weeks ago about Saline. They have a ton of talent. They will play Ann Arbor Skyline coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Remember, Skyline beat Saline twice last season, and they tied in the last game of the regular season, but they defeated Saline in that district final. Can Saline get over the hump this year? That would probably be their toughest competition in the league. They just knocked off Ann Arbor Huron 5-1 here a couple of days ago. So Saline playing as good as anyone in Division I. Are they beatable? Yes, everyone's beatable in all 4 divisions. It can happen any time, any place. We saw that last year. We talked about it in Division 4. Jackson Lumen Christie finished 7th in their conference, but still made a run that state championship. So you never can count anybody out. If you have some good players on your team, you can put it all together at the right time and make that run.
It is all about getting hot at the right time too, though. You know, that's also part of the name of the game. But that is all that we have for you on our Week 4 Michigan High School Girls Soccer Ranking Show. Alongside Dan Stickrat and Lexi Meyer, from our producer, Jonathan Turner, I'm Patty Cesarini. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.